Not every session is perfect, but this might exactly be why windsurfing is so addictive. This might be why you are obsessed with the sport. So in today's video, we're gonna go on the water in icy, stormy conditions, and I'm gonna explain you my theory why I think windsurfing is such an addictive sport. It is cold out here in northern Germany. We've got about 1 degree, so pretty icy, and it's stormy as well. We just came back from Puerto Rico, where we basically had tropical conditions. You've seen the last 3 videos, but where I'm from, out here in northern Germany, it can get pretty nasty, especially in winter. But when I was younger, this was pretty much my reality, and I didn't care much about the temperatures. As a matter of fact, I still really don't care about the temperatures as long as it's windy. All right, I think we're gonna go for a slalom session today. 5.6 and 5.3 should do the job. We want to stay a bit in shape for slalom. I'm looking forward to the slalom X racing this year. Soon we're going to Tenerife for winter training, and then of course we have the mighty NP7 fin ready to go. I just left it in the board from the last session. Let's check the measurements actually. Just dropped a little bit, 36 to 40 knots, 2 degrees. So should be pretty rough out there, and that's perfect conditions to keep pushing and stay in shape. Do some jibes, you know, and yeah, let's see what we get. So I recently read deeper into the human reward system, and I've also worked with a sport psychologist a while ago, and it made me realize quite some important things. I'm not a chemist, so I will keep it very simple. The reward system basically drives your whole motivation and pleasure. There's a neurotransmitter that you might have heard of. It's called dopamine, and it's the main actor in the whole reward chain. And it's basically, what makes you feel good. There are a couple of others like serotonin and endorphins, but let's just focus on dopamine for now. Last things last. Wetsuit, that's pretty important, although Lars likes to go out in his swimming pants in 2 degrees water. But yeah, so I usually go with the 6.5mm wetsuit with the hood integrated, just some 5mm boots or 3mm, and then some open palms, so fingers is gonna be cold. We have a whole video on how to prepare best for your winter session. We will link it down below, and there we really tested all the different glove options and tell you everything you need to know. And if you still need a proper thick winter wetsuit, we'll link my Surfshop down below, Surf Center. We have everything on store you need, and we're happy to help you find the right wetsuit. And with that said, I think it's time to get going and freeze our nuts off. Okay, so when the dopamine gets produced and released by the brain, it gives you a feeling of pleasure. And the brain will remember this and form a positive association to that event that triggered the release. A classic example is eating something sweet. It tastes good, the brain thinks I should eat it again, and this will now influence your decision making in the future. And anything that gives you the reward of dopamine release and a good feeling, you're likely to do it again. Okay, so that's the simplified basics. And obviously it's the case for negative habits like scrolling through your phone, like eating sweets, or even for drugs. But it's crazy to think about how much it actually influences your daily life and behaviors. So for example, your social life, meeting friends, getting compliments, that all triggers dopamine release. Even deep connections and love also releases dopamine. Learning something new releases dopamine. Chasing or achieving goals, discovering new places, all these things release dopamine. So we could say it basically drives your whole life, and it can work for you or it can work against you. Ready?
Ready.
Let's see what we get today. To be honest, I'm always kind of hoping for the most wind possible because I like the storms, I like the extreme conditions. But in this wind direction, the measurement station, the lighthouse, always shows a bit more wind than what it actually is on the beach, which is strange because the wind is onshore, so there should be nothing blocking the wind, but somehow it's always a bit less. I only took the 5.6 and the 5.3, so I'm hoping it's going to be proper windy and I'm going to get to my limits. But let's see, you never know. So safe to say that my life is heavily influenced by dopamine because we travel so much. I always chase the next big goal. I do competitions. I work in social media. You know, there's always the question about more clicks, more likes, and all that releases dopamine. And then of course, I windsurf a lot, often in really, really nice conditions. And let's call it how it is. I'm basically spoiled.
Don't waste my time. Don't waste my time.
Okay, so I'm obviously exposed to high dopamine triggering events. And this leads a little bit to an overstimulation. And it can make normal daily situations and things that should feel good feel a little bit less good in relation. You know, after a series of super high dopamine releasing activities, traveling, windsurfing, and this can of course cause me to fall into sort of holes of dopamine or deficiencies. And that's why I looked into it and I started finding out how I can make it work for me. And this can also be a separate video. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comments. We can talk about that more in depth. And if you're interested in general, I'll leave you some links below to some really interesting resources on this topic and how you can make it work for you. I really think it's worth understanding it. Okay, but anyway, what does it all have to do with the windsurfing addiction? You know what's the good thing about bringing just one board? You don't have the choice and you can take it up with you straight away. So beyond all of this pretty simple reward leads to habit situation, there's something that can reinforce this situation even more. And that's gambling. You know, when there's sand here already, that's typically a good sign. Okay. Not bad, eh? Looks pretty windy. I mean, we had more gnarly storms here before. Not sure if you guys remember. But it's been flooded completely here, so it could be more hardcore, but it looks pretty good. It looks windy. Looks like a solid 30 knots to me. Maybe stronger gusts, but I think I can easily take my 5.3 probably. Because cold wind, it's more dense, you know? So gambling hijacks the reward system. Because not every time you spin the wheel, you win and get the dopamine release. It's basically completely randomized. And maybe you're starting to understand what I'm getting at. So this is what is called variable reward system. The unpredictability increases the dopamine release when you do win. And the near misses keep you hooked. You're always chasing the high, you know, there's a sort of an anticipation for the big win. So all of this is very simplified, but let's translate that into windsurfing. So here's my theory about windsurfing. When you score a good session, the reward is just so high, you know, it's blasting over the water, a jump, a wave ride, even a jibe, whatever it is for you, you know, it just feels like the best thing ever, and the stoke is so high and you're so happy.
Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step. I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bets. Cause we know where we at, we know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I'm taking off like a rocket here and stopping here. It's strange how they cannot see the future, but see profit here. Wait up, we gon' always win. Promise that that's not a promise, yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promise to bring the team commas. When the whole team win, that's when you flex. Win, and I'ma do it again. Watch me win, then watch me do it again. Tell 'em I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no. Aiming for the top, can't make it by myself. I ain't taking no loss. I ain't taking no loss. Look, I'ma always win. I ain't taking no loss. Look, I'ma always win. We already know that we the coldest. Watch me heat it up, let me focus. I'm going toe to toe with foes. I know they notice. I kick in doors, they only hope for closing. Why? Cause they know I go again. And when they get it right, I'm the one that can make it flow again. Talk to me nice, my team, they ready to go again. Running into us, we'll gladly send you home again. We don't talk, better know the grind, gon' match my walk. I'm a cheat code, I don't take no loss. Making no sense, run up the scope. Cause all I do is win. And I'ma do it again. Watch me win.
That being said, some sessions just don't go right. You're not having the best day, the wind is shifty, it's worse than forecasted, the gear is not working for whatever reason, something breaks, you have to fix it. So there is this element of unpredictability, just like when gambling. And you're also always chasing that big win. Sometimes, you know, you get a good session that keeps you hooked, and those jackpots, of course, are rare. And when you hit them, it's kind of all worth it. And to be clear, I'm obviously talking about windsurfing now, not gambling.
Well, that was rough. Damn, it's so choppy out there. But you know what? It's funny how much of a difference it makes when you're with gloves and boots. Like you almost feel like you're a worse sailor. As soon as I took these gloves off, I felt so much more in control. And that makes me think also, if I had less forearm power than I have, it would probably also affect my performance, because when I put the glove on, I'm missing power in my forearm. So yeah, the power in the forearm, being able to grab the boom when you need to, at least. You shouldn't always, because you should have a lot of weight in the harness, but when you need to, it really helps to control the gear, especially in these conditions. I think I could have been on the 5.6. Yeah, probably. But it was windy, that's for sure.
So why do I still go windsurfing when I know the conditions are not perfect? So first of all, the addiction for the rush that windsurfing gives me is still there, you know, and my longing for it is just so high that I don't really care what the temperatures are, you know. But I also work on resetting my reward system, and some of these things might be sort of natural to you, but I personally actively had to work on them. It's things like detoxing dopamine releasing activities, the ones that work against you, like social media or coffee. You know, just not using them for a couple of days or from time to time, and instead replacing them with natural dopamine sources. Learning something new, playing the guitar, learning a new sport, just learning to be in the moment. I know it sounds a bit cheesy, but it does help in everyday life and in my motivation, and it does keep my hunger for windsurfing fresh. Even after coming back from windsurfing in paradise back to the Baltic Sea, 0 degrees.
Well, that was it, and soon we are back into warm waters. Be sure to follow us, be sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss anything upcoming. We're going over to Tenerife soon. Winter training, slalom training. I have coaching there and experience. So that one's booked out, but if you want to come windsurfing with me and get a few tips and tricks in the right direction, we always have an amazing time with a couple of like-minded people. Next one is in Lake Garda in June. Link is down below. And with that, yeah, I would say I'll see you when we're heading south.